like to congratulate everybody on that wonderful 25-year anniversary. You've done amazing work.
Well, I'd like to congratulate the Canadian Taxpayers Federation for their first 25 years.
So I really congratulate this 25 years of existence, and I wish you all the best in the future.
And we congratulate by heart as a European movement to your 25th anniversary.
Being there for 25 years, it's a hallmark, it's an achievement that will have to be celebrated.
On behalf of the Taxpayers Association of Ukraine, I would like to congratulate you with your 25th anniversary.
It's great to hear that Canadian taxpayers have already operated for 25 years.
给我们也创造了很多成功的经验。我们一定虚心地向加拿大土耳其学习。
After 25 years, I cannot think of another organization that has helped to enact such a turnaround in a nation's finances.
And Canada, the United States, all nations that have governments need a national taxpayers movement like the Canadian Federation that always makes the case for more limited spending and lower taxes. The other team doesn't sleep. We can't afford to. Congratulations on 25 years of real progress.
The Liberal government, Chrétien government, Paul Martin, finance minister, was in the fall of 1994 dropping all sorts of very big trial balloons about raising taxes. This was our moment. This is what the CTF was created for, was to prevent this from happening. We put this series of rallies together, the No More Taxes rallies, and people were backed up outside the Broom, down the hall, up the stairs and into the lot. I mean, it was bedlam. This was something new in Canada. This was a man bites dog story.
We were having a meeting about, I think, the forthcoming budget, and he says, well, look, if we do the right things, you should give us credit. And I said, Minister, if you end bracket creep, I'll do backflips down Spark Street for you. But in that budget day, I remember that when he did bracket creep, I'm sitting there and we're praising Paul Martin. Canada's on the tax cut freeway was our news release, and that was the headline.
We also looked at the gas tax honesty day, and I applaud the CTF for starting this up.
We have this van where we're rolling into it and hauling out a hockey-sized duffel bag every night with clothes and everything else and computers. And again, it resonated. I mean, gas taxes continue to drive motorists crazy.
You could still do the Teddies weekly if you wanted, not just annually. And again, it's that idea that it makes government so readily understandable.
Again, with a sense of humor, but clear and precise and well-researched and not challengeable. I think those things were very, very important.
The Taxpayers Federation was the only group in Ottawa that was prepared to argue against Kyoto, why it was bad, why the economics were bad, why the solutions were bad, and why it was just bad for Canada. 6 or 7 years after that, the government of Canada pulls out of Kyoto.
As soon as CTF started to say, hey, did you know there's a Manitoba chief who makes more than the Premier of Manitoba? Hey, do you know there are 60 chiefs who make more than the Prime Minister? That stirred up resentment on reserves. And that's where the reform's got to come from. It's got to come from ordinary people on the ground, on reserves, standing up and saying, we're not going to take it anymore.
You make very important, very complex public finance issues readily understandable.
Otherwise, the debt is so abstract for people. No one understands what $400 or $500 billion is. It just seems like an abstraction.
What you've really done through things like the debt clock, things through these stunts, I think is really bring it down to an engagement level.
For 20 years, we calculated MP pensions, gathered signatures on petitions, and demanded reform of the system. But whether it's MP pensions or any other campaign that we tackle, we're in it for the long term. We look to create innovative ways to make our point, and oftentimes with a sense of humor.
The Taxpayers Federation, looking back historically, played a vitally important role in getting the political class to accept the idea of fiscal responsibility, that you have to balance your budgets, reduce your deficits, reduce your debt.
When we came on stream, we were challenging the entire conventional wisdom around fiscal policy.
There is no question that Canadian public policy today, and particularly policies around taxes, are incomparably better than they would have been if we hadn't had 25 years of the Canadian Taxpayers Federation.
I can see the effect of it on policies that I brought in, and I can see how it's been a restraining effect on government spending, both provincially and federally across the country for 25 years.
The CTF, along with a lot of other folks, helped to radically change the conventional wisdom, now to the point where social democratic parties in Canada accept balanced budgets as the preferred, as optimal policy.
What set the CTF apart from everybody else? It's grassroots. It truly is the people.
You're not doing it with forced union dues, you're not doing it with other people's tax dollars. Every single dollar you raise typically comes from small grassroots donors who feel strongly and want an organized voice.
The people still have an innate passion for what we believe in, and I think that was there in the beginning, and I loved it, and it's there now, and I still love it.
But if you're going down the wrong track, we're putting up a big do not enter sign or the debt rate road. I think that's just the conviction. Fiscal issues, spending people's money wisely, doing the right thing for future generations was the hill that the CTF was always going to die on.
Political parties tend to, as we found out, come and go.
To stand up constantly against the momentum. Momentum in government is always to get bigger, always to get bigger. And so, you know, you're there standing in front of that big truck saying, stop.
You can't rely on political parties themselves to be the engines of all this consistency. So you guys were always there.
If there was a change, it was the ability to choose our fights and then win them.
The CTF acts like a real opposition party. It does. Like, it's almost like another estate.
And we win some, we lose some, but we get up in the morning, we lace our boots up, and we get back out there, and we make the case for smaller and limited government.
Without your voice on the scene, on the political scene, a lot of policies would be going through that are even worse than some of the present ones. So all the best to the Federation and a quarter of a century of making a difference.
The Canadian Taxpayers Federation, 25 years. You know, I've lived a lot of that 25 years with the Federation. Mostly as Minister of Finance, some of it as Prime Minister. And I can tell you in that whole period, the ability to sit down with the Federation, to talk to them about the issues, to hear their views, to understand that what I was dealing with was a group of people who really understood the need to analyze, the need to have evidence-based policy, who understood really, in their view, what the country needed. We didn't always agree, but the fact is, every time I met with them, it was a valuable experience. And I really hope that I can be here for the 50th. And maybe my children will be here for the 100th, because if that's the case, it just will demonstrate unequivocally how important the Canadian Taxpayers Federation has been to the development of economic policy in this country.